have mercy. I'm not religious, but I did barely successfully major in religious studies. And for better and often for worse, the history of faith and organized religion has been the backbone of human history. Political science, culture, wars, sexual ethics, civil rights, and so much more. And subtle or not, religion and faith are most often the answer to why people do what they do in some way, to how we got here in some way, even now as the West really barrels towards majority secularism. And despite all of it, I'm really fine with the whole thing, as long as you're not using it to oppress or harm others, which is definitely some of the time. I see have mercy as religion's version of all men are created equal. It's easy to say or throw around or, right into the Bible 400 years after the fact or into, say, a constitution. But it's more complicated to walk the walk. When you're a mascot for the Crusades, when you're abusing a million little boys, cutting young girls, splitting up a subcontinent, or enslaving your own children, Thomas Jefferson. On the other hand, for a very, very long time, since thunder and lightning, faith and, again, later institutionalized religion have provided a great source of comfort for so many people and in real life, form of community, of groups of people who share the same values, usually for good, but obviously that sense of community is something we're increasingly lacking today. But either way, like any community, from the church to the NFL, there's some real pros and cons. In religion, faith, politics, institutions, society, welfare, pro-life, technology, even education, these words and ideas are truly what we make them, right? Sure, it's the fundamentalism, it's the guns, it's the greed, but it's also the very human guardrails we know we need around all of these for a pretty proven lack of better angels. As David Brooks wrote last year, we are born into a world of institutions, families, schools, professions, the structures of our government. We are formed by these institutions. People develop good character as they live up to the standards of excellence passed down in their institutions. By displaying the civic virtues required by our Constitution, by living up to what it means to be a good teacher or nurse, or if they're Christians, by imitating the self-emptying love of Christ. He continues, over the course of our lives, we inherit institutions, steward them, and try to pass them along in better shape to the next generation. We know our institutions have flaws and need reform, but we regard them as fundamentally legitimate. MAGA morality is likely to regard people like me as lemmings, as he said. And he finished, the fact that a presidential nominee is accused of sexual assault is a feature, not a bug. It's a sign that this nominee is a manly man. So, obviously, it's entirely possible to develop good character without participating in any kind of faith or organized religion. But on the other hand, it's also very, very interesting that one of the most forsaken tenets of most of these institutions is to simply have mercy. Where did that go? Trump, Elon, Mike Johnson, Dana White, and most recently, Mark Zuckerberg, manly men, they're not going to listen to this or read this or whatever, because whatever their faith, they've got no mercy to give. This isn't for them. It's for you. Have mercy more than ever. 2 years after the Heritage Foundation published Project 2025. 6 months after Trump's God saved him from assassination. 2 weeks after the Right Reverend Marianne Buddy asked Trump to his face to pay it forward and have mercy for the scared among us, after he immediately demanded an apology, after he and his apostles and sycophants and oligarchs sought to tear her down, after they immediately dominated our institutions from the media to the Treasury, after they immediately attempted to dismantle others from USAID to the CDC, as they so thoroughly dominated culture again and immediately dominated our attention again, even if they barely won the election, even if the courts have actually stepped up so far, sometimes more than once, to stop some of these orders in their tracks. Even if we, everyone else who doesn't want this, have done little to recover ground from November, even with all that, after all of this, I only have good news for you. Whatever your religious journey or belief system, if any, there is so much room for mercy. The bar is lower than ever. The gap's wider than ever. The need more than ever. And look, however large and complicated our party is on whatever issue, no matter who is affected, we must and be exactly two things at once and nothing more. One, merciful. As we continuously paint a loud, vivid picture of a better way of living and governing, brought forth by actually listening to people. Not the actual white supremacists, fuck those guys, but the other folks who are actually struggling, who were and continue to be misinformed, or both. We must be merciful to everyone on the front lines, and even ourselves, earnestly communicating real, but inevitably flawed ideas, as real people with real flaws, by building new, flawed, but well-meaning institutions, and well-funded but imperfect informal media in 2025 and 2030 terms, not 2008. Number two, we must be absolutely merciless as we simultaneously force Trump and Elon and Mike Johnson and every complicit billionaire and everyone up for election in 2025 in Virginia and Wisconsin and 2026, make them own every tariff, every single order, every single life they put in harm's way here and abroad. We have to make them own it over and over, paint it clearly. So have mercy. But I will warn you, you cannot simply hold it in your heart or say it at church. You have to fucking show it. Don't have hope, be hope. We've talked about it. Embody that shit with conviction. We have to reach down deep inside these tattered husks to enlist, frankly, an ambition we buried a long time ago. A wild ambition for a merciful world where everyone has bootstraps, just to start with. We're young people whose parents didn't have bootstraps, or less. Bartenders with economic degrees and barely any savings. Nurses, teachers, renters, young parents, not only elected, but chairing committees. Because I get it, but despair is not an option here, and neither is neutrality. It never has been an option, and it never will be. It will not be effective, so you have to hang in there. You have to stay in the game. You have to carry the fire. You have to chop wood and carry water every day. Whatever the fucking metaphor or cat poster or song lyric, I don't care. Make it your fucking mantra, your operating instructions. Write it on your bathroom mirror. Do it. And I also have some really good news. I'm not asking you to get over how angry you are. Like garlic, mercy pairs well with anything. And you can really never have enough of it. Take the recipe and double it. Rage and mercy? Yeah. Let's fucking do it. Petty and mercy? Oh, one of my favorite dishes. Just plug it into my veins. Let's try some. The same businesses who put black squares in their Instagram profiles 4 years ago are cutting DEI programs as fast as they can and trying to figure out how the fuck they're going to rationalize with a on and off again 25% tariff without the pitchforks coming for them too. Good luck. Oh, you didn't mind inequality? You're going to be neutral on that? Okay, just wait until Social Security stops working like next week. And it's all because 47 doesn't give a shit if the richest Nazi that's ever lived and his white supremacist little bronies plug directly into the Treasury terminal and put Medicaid and millions of the poorest kids in the world's futures into the wood chipper, as they put it. You don't think there's going to be any implications from that? You manifested your little business-friendly cosplay KKK tax cut culture war into a blitzkrieg of immoral but actually legal executive orders, completely illegal ones that could devastate lives and public services, a full-on devastating administrative coup, and a fucking variety pack constitutional crisis. So sure, at this point, maybe we've missed the opportunity to put everyone into the grinder because who knows what public services will actually be left at the end of this. But that doesn't mean we can't look up from paying off kids' lunch debt to say, best of luck, motherfuckers. to the ones that really, really deserve it. You wanted the immigrants out? Good luck getting any service of any kind anywhere. And I'm so glad you're excited about supersonic flight again. It's really cool. Best wishes with those air traffic controllers. Best wishes with those factory farms as we continue to not test for bird flu and no one works there. Have no doubt, we're having mercy here. We are feeding people tonight more than ever. But if we're going down, we're taking you with us and we're going to make you responsible for it. Have mercy. Is Bishop Buddy Satan, or Exhibit A for why women should not be pastors, priests, or bishops, or an incubator for the woke virus, or a megaphone for fear-mongering and division because she said, have mercy? Let's find out who's behind. Let's find out who's behind door number 1. Is it Reverend Buddy, or is it one of the people cited above who celebrated Trump opening a concentration camp? Or is it any one of the pro-life family and friends hosts? Is it the administration just absolutely fucking stacked with sexual predators and domestic abusers? Have mercy. Be pro-life. Guarantee another meal, another day, another night of shelter for someone else. You have life this day, at least guaranteed. And to whom much is given, much is expected. Let me ask you this. Is a concentration camp pro-life? Is cutting the ACA pro-life? Is confirming an anti-vaxxer to Health and Human Services pro-life? Is ignoring bird flu pro-life? Is bringing measles back, loving thy neighbor? Is that pro-life? But we all know what pro-life is. They own it, they'll tell you. Fuck them. I'll take that shit back. Tell those folks, show me one thing you've done this week to measurably extend the health span of someone with fewer resources than you, bonus points if it's a child, and I will call you pro-life. Tell them. Disprove for me Matthew Desmond's theory that so many Americans live in poverty because so many rich people benefit from it. Show me the receipts. Prove to me that America First is America First. Prove to me that pulling out of the World Health Organization and Paris Agreement again and shutting down PEPFAR will improve Americans' life expectancy. That cutting the corporate tax rate will make eggs cheaper. That firing National Science Foundation researchers and removing CDC data sets will build tens of millions of new houses, improve maternal health, especially for Black women, or polluted air or heart disease. Are they one-to-one? Prove to me that shutting down the imperfect U.S. aid won't only endanger millions, including people currently in clinical trials who no longer can access treatment, Jesus Christ, but also cripple American soft power all over the globe. Tell me again what mercy is. Tell me what pro-life is and what you're doing about it, and I'll tell you what I think it is. Pro-life is acknowledging that without bootstraps, kids and parents and everyone else simply cannot get on their feet reliably. We have to start there. Pro-life is acknowledging we have double the child poverty rate of Germany and South Korea, and then attacking the system to build something better that doesn't just tolerate child poverty or a little less, but seeks to eliminate it now and 7 generations down the line. Pro-life is acknowledging your house value went up because there aren't enough houses, and that's been the plan, to build and restrict wealth in America for a very, very long time. Pro-life is then demanding your city and state build more of it everywhere, but especially near public transportation and electricity transmission. Pro-life is fighting for measurable, repeatable policies like housing vouchers, rent control and stabilization, land banks, and so much permanently affordable public housing. Pro-life is acknowledging that Hitler salutes are still not allowed on Inauguration Day or any day. Pro-life is acknowledging that when there is no paid leave requirement, when childcare is the least affordable and accessible, and reading scores are fucking cratering, that cutting federal funding for Head Start is monstrous. Tell me how that's America First. Tell me how that's mercy or pro-life. Pro-life is acknowledging that Medicaid work requirements have never held up and then fighting to abolish them. Pro-life is acknowledging that we have, massive fucking understatement coming here, vilified black people every day since at least 1619, and then no, hiring black people and other DEI people did not make the planes crash. Pro-life is acknowledging that no, Doge, whatever the fuck it is, shouldn't have access to the NOAA, because isn't it great knowing when hurricanes are coming? Pro-life is acknowledging that this assault on the 1% of kids, of college athletes that are trans, is really just an assault on every trans kid, is an assault on every black and queer kid, and the only thing that unifies all of it is that it's been the same antagonists all this time. Pro-life is acknowledging, like Raj Patel did in his book, that our food system allows a few to eat healthily, many to eat unhealthily, and many more not to eat at all. Pro-life is acknowledging that environmental justice workers should be the first ones taken care of and the last ones to go. Pro-life is simply standing in the way of some inevitable destruction of imperfect guardrails and institutions, seeking to build anew and better because, like Paul Farmer showed us, like my essay about the starfish, every life matters. It matters to this starfish. So yeah, man, take it back. Have mercy. Be merciless. The mercy you go out of your way to show today and tomorrow matters just as much as a daily commitment to absolutely burying these bastards in their choices. So to wrap it up again, have mercy. I don't believe in God or that there's anyone minding the shop or the stove or behind the wheel, whatever. And that might differentiate me and you, and that's totally okay. But I think if you're listening to this, we have more in common than you think. Either way, the real world implications of my belief system are inevitable. There's no one coming to save us. We are the only ones who can take care of each other. We are the only ones who can feed each other, who can make kids' cancer and tuberculosis and malaria and air pollution a thing of the past, who can clean up after these fires, who can build computers to predict and track hurricanes, who can build homes and schools and safe streets and vaccines that don't require cold storage. No one's going to do that for us. Now, let me address the controversy in the room here. I got to the end of this and I realized, my tone here, or at least half of it, skips right over the whole look with compassion on the whole human family into what Reverend Buddy calls a culture of contempt. And honestly, it's because I'm angry. I'm angry not because it turns out our systems are imperfect, but because a fascist few are throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I understand her plea for dignity. She said, if common ground is not possible, dignity demands that we remain true to our convictions without contempt for those who hold convictions of their own. I hear her call for honesty. But I struggle so much with those who would so consciously and willingly and even proactively make action of their convictions with the explicit intention of hurting the marginalized. And I understand the need for humility. I am not a journalist, an aid worker, an attorney, a scientist, a billionaire, a policymaker, or a lot of other things. We're all capable of good and bad, and to me, that's exactly the point. Because as indigenous poet Kareem Wafa al-Hosani said, if you believe that fighting for your freedom means denying somebody else theirs, you're not fighting for freedom. You're fighting for supremacy. That's it for this week. You can find everything at importantnotimportant.com. Thank you for listening, and thanks for giving a shit.